Hi, everybody. I'm Eugene Driscoll of ValleyIndy.org. Welcome to a special live edition of Navel Gazing, the Valley Indy podcast, I guess I'll call it. We're going to try streaming live coverage of the Ansonia Board of Aldermen meeting as soon as it begins, which is going to be momentarily. You can ignore that stars stuff. I'm not looking to raise money at the moment. They're just getting ready in the meeting room there. Thought this worked fairly well when we did it earlier today for a Derby BOE subcommittee meeting, so I thought we would try it again. I saw there was a comment. I can't bring it up. Somebody just commented asking if Derby was in front of MARB. It's actually MFAC, which is MARB, but with no teeth. I just want to go. Okay, it's about to begin. I'm going to share the screen now.
America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
liberty and justice for all.
We get a roll call?
Yes, aldermen and women, King,
Here.
Stowe, Adamowski,
Here.
Tar,
Here.
Cassetti,
Here.
Janetti,
Here.
Nutt. You know he's here.
Yes. Here.
Yaman,
Here.
Rivers,
Here.
Mamone, Schubert.
Ramon's here as well. Here.
Okay, Mamone is here as well.
Here.
Blackwell, DeLibero.
He's also here.
That's 11 present.
All right, I declare a quorum. We have two sets of minutes to consider for approval, both from December 13th. We have the organizational and the regular. Can I get a motion for the organizational minutes?
So
Motion.
Motion by Yaman and second by Rivers. All in favor?
Aye.
And then the same date, December 13th, the regular meeting minutes.
So moved.
Yaman and Rivers again. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Accept both of those. All right, move into public session. Before we start, quickly, just a reminder, if you do want to speak to the alderman, please identify yourself, name and address for the public record. And please limit your comments to 3 minutes or preferably less. Anyone from the public who wishes to speak tonight? Anyone from the public?
It looks like you got Richie Bashura, got his hand up.
Where's that? Is he, no, he doesn't. Does he?
I see a hand there.
I see Richard.
Mouse.
That's a mouse.
Is it? It looks like a hand.
Yeah, there are no hands. Where are you seeing that hand?
Oh, if you look at a distance, the Mickey Mouse looks like there's a hand inside of it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
That's
whatever.
Disney
Oh,
World.
that's the castle. That's Cinderella's castle.
Disney
his
World
icon.
Oh, on
inside
the
of Mickey
outside
Mouse.
is a hand. Hey, Rich, unmute yourself. Are you looking to speak?
That's a woke hand.
All right. Third and
Okay.
final call. Anyone from the public who wishes to speak? Seeing none, we'll close the public session and move on to page 2. Hang on a second. Public official session. Mayor Cassetti.
President Stewart, members of the Board of Aldermen and residents of the great city of Ansonia. Tonight marks the first Board of Aldermen meeting of the new year. It also marks our last meeting to be held exclusively in Zoom. While we will continue to implement Zoom meetings to make Alderman meetings more accessible, I am pleased to announce that our February meeting will be in person. In fact, Public Works is underway putting a fresh coat of paint on the automatic chambers for your return. Hopefully, they picked a nice color because you're going to see a lot of those walls as we get to work for our residents over the next year. Let me tell you, 2023 is going to be a big year for Ansonia. It has now been 10 years since we started our mission to recharge and revitalize Ansonia and our city. During the last decade, we have worked to lower taxes, ignite economic development, and strengthen vital city services from public education to police and first responders. We have left excuses behind and put our taxpayers and residents first. And as a result, the Ansonia of today is a better place. But we have more work to do. As we celebrate the 10th anniversary of Ansonia Recharge this year, we face new opportunities and new challenges. And tonight, I want to give you a preview of things to come. This week, we will begin the demolition of SHW facility, opening up a blank canvas for new jobs and revenue generating potential. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Thanks to this Board of Aldermen, our team, we will be unlocking over 60 acres of additional downtown space for development later this year, a brand new economic engine to power the Copper City. Plans for the redevelopment of the former Ansonia Copper and Brass will no doubt be a top priority for us in 2023. And it's going to be a year of grand openings. Let's start with our new senior center. Tonight, I am so excited to announce an official grand opening event of March 1st through the center, though the center may certainly be open for business starting later.
Oh, hold on, Mayor, we lost you. Someone muted him.
You're muted.
There was a bit of an echo, so I don't know if they were trying to prevent the echo, but
How about now, guys? You hear me?
yeah, now we can hear you.
Okay. I want to welcome to the city of Ansonia our new senior center director, Christine Sansini. Christine brings with her a stellar record of service as director of the Derby Senior Center. Please join me in welcoming her to the other side of Division Street. Now, later this spring, it's finally time for the opening of Ansonia's firefighter themed splash pad at Nolan Field. I anticipate it will be ready for your enjoyment by June 1st. So Alderman Jauman and Rivers, just make sure you get some less tacky bathing suits by that time. And of course, we eagerly anticipate the groundbreaking of Ansonia's new multi-sports complex on Olson Drive, a project that will help usher in new life to our downtown area. We also have a plan submitted for funding to turn our recently renovated Ansonia Armory into a community center, working alongside groups like TEAM. Plus, while there is too much to keep up with on the new business front for now, I'll just ask you to check out Guy Peters, our newest pizza establishment on East Main Street. And watch out for news on the new paintball entertainment complex overlooking the city on Fountain Lake. I hear there's going to be a swimming pool going in as well. Again, same comment for Rivers and Jauman. Maybe you'll need 2 pairs of swimming trunks this year. Also, a new restaurant from the owners of Palma and the new apartments above. And if all this news is interesting and you somehow don't already live in Ansonia, I can tell you that another 200 new housing units are going online in Ansonia by the fall. Never too late to move. Here's more news for families. While my critics are always claiming every year that a circus is coming to town, well, this year they would be right. Ansonia will be proud to host the Coleman Brothers Carnival on Nolan Field this summer from June 28th to July 4th in conjunction with the Boys and Girls Club. And if your family likes it louder, let me be the first to announce our Rock the Valley headliner. It's Dirty Deeds, the critically acclaimed AC/DC cover band, who will be joined by an entire lineup of hard rock specialty acts on Saturday, August 26th. Finally, and very importantly, let me say something to those property owners who were a little surprised by this year's revaluation. Since the day I was first elected, I have fought to keep taxes as low as possible. And I am proud to say that our team has been successful in stabilizing the tax rate year after year. But this year, the tax rate stabilization will not cut it. While the state mandated revaluation may be out of the city's control, I promise to do all within my power to lessen the impact of increasing property values on the actual taxes you pay. Now I say, Mr. President, take down that mill rate. My aim this year is for a mill rate reduction for the benefit of our taxpayers. It may not be easy, but after 10 years of fighting for this great city of Ansonia, I know my team is up to the challenge. Good night, God bless you all, and I'll see you back in person next month.
Thank you, Mayor. Next up, Corporation Counsel, John Marini.
Mr. President, Board of Aldermen, good evening. And I want to echo the mayor's comments. Congratulations on making it to the 10th anniversary of Ansonia Recharged. Mayor outlined a lot of exciting initiatives for the next year. And you're going to see that we're going to get into a lot of these development initiatives pretty quickly. I first want to point out, if you didn't hear because of the brief disruption in the mayor's speech, that we are indeed planning to open the senior center for business, hopefully end of this month or early February, but an official grand opening event will take place on March 1st. So we're looking for an official ceremony on the 1st and an event for the seniors. But business at the senior center may in fact be starting as early as later on in the month of January. Additionally, I want to welcome Christine Sonsini to the city of Ansonia. She'll be starting specifically February 6th as Ansonia's new senior center director. So congratulations to her. I want to talk about the Ansonia Opera House, which has been an exciting revitalization project that this Board of Aldermen took on last year, and how it, interestingly enough, ties into the demolition of Ansonia Copper and Brass and the SHW facility. We have been negotiating with SHPO, which is that portion of the state that preserves historically significant buildings and structures. And essentially, they are looking for some level of mitigation for basically payback for the demolition of some of the blighted, decrepit SHW buildings. And we, in our discussions and negotiations with SHPO, were essentially able to link that mitigation to the Ansonia Opera House. As you know, the city has a very long-term lease with the Opera House with an eye towards rehabilitation. And that's our goal here, to have some of that rehabilitation to the exterior of the building satisfy the mitigation requirements that SHPO has, which are in fact allowing us to take all of these buildings on SHW down. And of course, I could answer any questions to that. It's a little confusing, I know, to you may say, hey, you know, those decrepit buildings, they really needed to come down. Why would there be mitigation necessary? But anytime you're taking down any properties with a historic significance, certainly buildings that have been up that long, SHPO does have a right to require mitigation take place, essentially that the city be investing in another historic property. Fortunately, the Opera House is a perfect scenario and gives us a project very close to the demolition site where historic remediation could be of big significance to the downtown area. So we'll keep you updated on that. I also want this board to know that we are referring Sheila and myself to the Planning and Zoning Commission and 824 for leases, general leases of the SHW property. We know we have interest from manufacturers, and we told you previously about interest for fuel cell, which is energy that generates good revenue for the city while operating cleanly. Before we get into any of those proposals, we want to make sure that we do in fact have an 824 for lease of the premises. And I can tell you that we are pursuing leases. That way, the city, again, never finds itself in the situation that it did here, whereby you sell to a user, to a manufacturer. It works out well in the short term, but then in the long term, the city loses control of the property, and the property gets held up. This is really one of our biggest potentials for revenue generation into the future, the copper and brass and SHW facility. We want to make sure that Ansonia retains control of these parcels into the future. So of course, we're looking at long-term leases for manufacturers and for revenue generating opportunities. We also want to protect the residents, protect our taxpayers, and make sure this property doesn't basically slip away from the city once again. Surveillance cameras. At our last meeting, we had a big discussion about the city's preliminary study into putting up crime surveillance cameras and shop monitoring throughout the city. We think it's time now, given the specific information we talked about at our last meeting, to put together a committee, a subcommittee of the Board of Aldermen, guided by some of our consultants, including our own Jared Heon, to begin working on the implementation of a very first phase. And I understand, Mr. President, that you do have some names for us to assign to this subcommittee tonight.
Yes. So the last meeting, we had some volunteers, so I'd like to assign those people. Bobby Tarr, Joe Yauman, myself, and Chicago Rivers, I believe, all volunteered themselves during the last meeting. Plus, I'm hoping we're going to have guidance through the consultants you mentioned as well.
Additionally, for those keeping track, we're still in the middle of that foreclosure on the entirety of Ansonia Copper and Brass. The judge has ordered separate law dates for every single defendant that we are closing out with the foreclosure process. This is a little bit unusual, but the court's discretion just means it's taking a little longer than we would have liked, but we hope by March that the city is the owner of Ansonia Copper and Brass. Finally, union negotiations are starting to reach their end with the police unit and also the arms unit. We have meetings scheduled throughout this week and next week, and we hope to be coming back to you with proposals by the next meeting. And that is it for now, unless the board has any questions.
Any questions from the alderman for Corporation Council? All right. Economic Development, Sheila O'Malley. And you're on mute.
Okay, good evening, President Stewart, members of the Board of Aldermen. I just gave my report while I was on mute, so I'm going to go through it all over again. So just to quickly touch on some grant applications. You heard the mayor or John talk about the armory. We did submit a grant application for $8 million to convert that into a community center. Fingers crossed. We're just coming off of a $6.5 million win, as you know, for the replacement of the bridge at Ansonia Copper and Brass. So, you know, we hope to get this next one. We certainly need it, but you know, we'll see how we do. There's a rec trail grant that's open, and we intend to apply for funding for the construction of the next phase of the Riverwalk, which will take us down Olson Drive, out by Riverside Drive, and out maybe parallel to what we hope to be a road someday that will allow us to connect to Route 8. So there is that. There is an interested tenant for the Farrell property, which, as everyone knows, 35 Main and 1 West Main are privately held, and they will be coming in to talk to the mayor and his staff about a potential tenant for 1 West Main, actually both buildings. So that would be a manufacturing space tenant. We also have a tenant for SHW, and some of the grant funds that we received are contingent upon placing a manufacturer in that building 12, which will remain standing after all the demolition is complete. So that tenant is still very much interested in that spot. And we have had other, as John mentioned, we have had other interested parties for other portions of SHW. So I often say this, if we have 60 acres of land to develop, I could fill it maybe 10 times over. So there's nothing, no ready-made land left. I think that's it for now. You're going to have a lot of projects beginning in the spring. The garage is going to be completed. State Street project will be commencing. I don't like to talk about our funders, so I won't say anything about them except to say that State Street is still being reviewed. And as soon as we get the go ahead, we'll start that project. That's about it for now.
All right. Any questions for economic development from the alderman? Perfect. Next up, Chief Fiscal Officer Kurt Miller.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board. Just a super quick update tonight. I just want to start off with the audit. As you know, we needed to file for an extension due to some medical issues that some of the staff at the Board of Education was having. So I'd just like to announce that we should be completing the audit by the January 30th deadline. I expect to have it done in the next week or two. I just like to publicly recognize Richie and Kim for their hard work and extra effort that they put in. Richie has basically moved into the Board of Ed for the last 2 weeks or so and has been doing everything that he possibly can to help them out. So, a lot of credit goes to those two. And, this just shows the relationship that's been fostered between the mayor and Superintendent DeBacco, about our organizations coming together, working together, helping each other out, supporting each other, backing each other up. It's truly great to see. And this is a true testament to that being put together. So just want to commend them for their hard work and effort. And then just to echo some of the comments that the mayor made with regards to the upcoming fiscal year 24 and reevaluation. We've been spending a lot of time over the last couple of weeks working to reset the mill rate. And what I mean by that is with the new grand list, the mill rate needs to be reset to what that number would be. We expect to have that number early to mid February, and that will be the starting off point. But to echo Mayor Cassetti's comments, the mill rate will absolutely be coming down. So I just want to, to put that out there publicly. We don't have an exact number yet, but we will be creating a lot of different tools that residents will be able to use to get a true understanding of the impact that reevaluation has had on their taxes. One thing I want to, let people know is, as the mill rate drops, the values of cars will be remaining the same. So every resident who owns a car in Ansonia will absolutely be seeing a huge tax savings on their motor vehicles by themselves. So again, a lot of positive stuff coming forward, a lot of great stuff in the pipeline that I think will help reduce taxes in the long run, help to stabilize them and continue Ansonia moving forward in the great positive direction that it's been moving. So that's a testament to the members of this board, the members of BOAT, and the mayor and his professional staff. So with that, President Stewart, I'll take any questions that any board members have.
Any questions from the alderman? All right, moving on. Police Chief Wayne Williams, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. President, Board of Aldermen. I will keep it as short as possible. I just wanted to let you know on our personnel, I know we've talked about it numerous times, but we're starting to slowly get to where we need to be. We have 3 officers currently they have graduated from the academy and they're in the field training program, so you may see them out and about. We have an additional 7 officers that are in training at different academies throughout the state that will slowly start coming out of the academy and entering the field training program. Tonight on your communications, you'll see a letter from me regarding one of our old Detective Bureau vehicles that we are looking for permission to scrap. It is over 17 years old and really is not viable for anything anymore. I will say I tried to give it away to a couple of departments, and the laughter is still coming in. Regarding contract negotiations, Alderman Marini has already updated you, so you know that we have meetings set up with the union. So I'm hopeful that we can get somewhere with that. You may start noticing that we are using the lower garage, which is pending the repairs to the upper garage. But we've gotten permission to use the lower garage until those repairs start. So that'll help try to keep some of our vehicles out of the parking lots, et cetera, which then in turn opens up the parking on East Main Street to the fire departments until we have to move back there when the work starts. You have seen, and I've talked to a couple of the aldermen about some events that took place in the last week of December regarding some street robberies of people in the CVS and the Cumberland Farms parking lot. I can tell you that both of those cases are connected. They are still being investigated, but I know that detectives took one person into custody already in connection with the Cumberland Farms robbery, and additional arrests are expected. The exchange of gunfire, unfortunately, on Bridge Street is also still under investigation. We have strong leads on suspects in that case as well. Sheila was talking about grants. We have also begun some discussions, myself, her, Kurt Miller, about looking for a grant for replacing some of the very, very outdated and archaic traffic lights that are in town. Some of them are on streets that are not state roads, and some of them are on state roads, but they needed to be replaced many years ago. There was a cost to that. So we are just starting to work on that. For the aldermen on the west side, the upper west side, I can tell you that the Nolan Field parking lot, the signs, everything is up. The gates are ready to go. And as of tonight, though the parking lot up there is going to be closed from sunset to sunrise, and our officers on both the evening shift and the midnight shift will take care of locking and unlocking the gates up there. Obviously, if there's any events up there, we'll adjust as necessary. And when I was talking about the lights, I know I also got some calls about the light at Jackson and Wakely, that it's on flash. We had reset it multiple times. We were having some difficulty getting it running. Marlin Controls from Massachusetts came down, worked with Public Works today, and it looks like it is up and running. So that's really all I have for you. I am open to all questions, but seeing that nobody's had any questions for anybody else, and maybe I'm getting off the hook.
Yeah. Any questions for the chief from the alderman?
Yeah, I got one for you. Not gonna let you off that easy. No,
I was looking. I was wondering where you were.
No. I just want to thank you for that light, because a lot of people were calling about the light, and I've sustained it. You reset it, and then a couple hours it goes back to normal. And today I was like, wow, it's working. So I'm good.
Yeah, we think it's going to run. We had extra duct tape today, so I believe it's going to stay running for a little while. But they're also pricing out what the cost would be to replace that.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Other questions? All
I
right.
would like to just say thank you to the chief, and to commend the officers for the opposite side of the street parking enforcement. They did a great job in my area.
Yes.
Uh,
They're doing a great job throughout the city. Thank you.
Yeah, we're trying to keep up with that. It seems like this year it's we've had more complaints about winter parking than we normally do, but we're getting around to it. I'm just let's not talk about winter and jinx ourselves.
All right. Well, thank you. And thank you for coming tonight.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right. So ends the public official session. So we'll move on to committee reports. We have first up, the Finance Committee.
A motion to pay all bills if deemed correct, Josh.
Second.
Motion by Mamone, second by Rivers. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstaining? All right, motion carries unanimously. Any other committee reports from the aldermen? Okay. I'll move on to municipal reports. You received the boat recommendations after the meeting last night.
Motion to accept.
Motion to accept from Cassetti. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Yauman. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All
I'll
right,
abstain, Josh. I didn't get a chance to review it yet.
one abstention, Mamone. Motion carries. Next up is the tax collector report.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Motion to accept by Mamone, second by Rivers. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? All right. Carries. We also have the request for refunds. The January report showed a request of $1,687.09.
Motion to accept as stated.
Second.
Motion by Mamone, second by Rivers again. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? All right. Not included on listed there, but was in our packet was the land use reports. There were actually two of them in there.
Yeah.
There was one was just an update from the previous month, but this month's land use report was in there as well.
Motion.
To accept.
Who was that?
Second. Cassetti.
Cassetti and second by Tar.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? All right. Accents and claims, we had nothing. We have two communications in the packet. The first one, Chief mentioned in his sterling monologue. That was the short letter from the police chief to the Board of Aldermen requesting permission to dispose of an old vehicle. What's your pleasure?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Rivers, second by Tar. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? All right. And communication 2 was from the fire department to the mayor, and that was a request for a study.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Second.
Motion to accept by Yaman, second by Rivers. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries.
I just ask a question. What happens with that next?
Yeah.
How do we locate people who specialize in fire studies and stuff like that?
Well, it was sent to the mayor, so I'm assuming mayor staff would work on that. So we'll push that to them. This wasn't even addressed to us. I just put this on there so you guys were in the know.
Yeah, I was just curious because that's a pretty important one for the firemen. So I know it's a
That's
specialized unit that needs to do that. So thanks.
I'm working on it, Tony.
Thank you, Sheila.
All right, next up, we got, let's see. We got a big hole in the agenda here. Bunch of blank spots. We got no resignations. We have no resolutions. And then we have the mayor's letter for appointments.
Mhm.
Let's move on to that. Just gotta find it.
You're looking at the packet, it's page 49.
No, I have it separated out for my own sanity. All right, January 4th letter from the mayor, Board of Aldermen, pursuant to my powers under city charter and code, I submit the following appointments. So there's two categories. First one is 3 appointments for Water Pollution Control Authority, 3-year terms, all with an expiration date of 01/31/26. So I'm just going to read each nominee and then we'll vote separately. Gary Parker, Democrat, 38 North Co Lane.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Yaman, second by Rivers. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimously. Next nominee, Dan King, Republican, 70 Woodlawn Ave, apartment 16.
Motion.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Yaman, second by Tar. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I abstain.
One
King.
abstention, King. Third one, Chicago Rivers, Republican, 19 Tomlinson Street.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Yaman, second by Tar. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
One abstention, Rivers. All right, so all three of those, congratulations and thanks. And the last one is Zoning Board of Appeals, 5-year term. And the nominee, Natalie Jaimo, Democrat, 93 South Cliff Street. Term expiring 1/31/28.
Motion.
Motion by
Second.
Yaman, second by Tar. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Abstentions? Okay, the motion carries unanimously. Thanks.
Just a correction on his name. It's Natalia.
Natalia?
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Joe. Correct that for the record there. All right.
I thought you butchered the last name.
I thought I butchered the last name too. So I got the nice last name right. I butchered the first name.
Can we go to executive session?
Perfect. Hang on.
Wait, no, we got some stuff first.
Some more
No.
stuff here.
I like your thinking, Joe.
I like the way you think.
Oh,
Ordinance, we have nothing. Anything under new business?
no.
No? All right. Old business, we have 2 items listed. We have the NVCOG update on food waste program. I do want to note, you guys all should have received a message from Katie Schlick from the COG. And she and Christine O'Neill are here, but there was a little flyer and an invite to all of you for this Thursday, January 12th, 6 to 7 p.m. The Trash Reduction Pilot Program Community Dinner held at City Hall. They're trying to lure us with free pizza, but this says all are welcome. Bring your ideas and questions. So I don't know if anyone has any questions now. Or you
I
want
do.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I have a question about the program. I guess there was an article published today about a debacle in West Haven where the residents were getting non-compliance letters, and there were some Ansonia residents who voiced some concerns, and I wanted to make sure that we will not be getting non-compliance letters for people who either chose not to participate because it was optional, or people who are using their own garbage bags, because I guess part of the letter talked about what color their garbage bags were, and they got these flyers about how they're non-compliant. And I know we had talked ad nauseum, at lengthy conversations about how this was an optional program. So I just want to make sure before it goes out of control that that's not going to happen in Ansonia.
Hi, everyone. Sure, I can jump in here. My name is Katie Schlick.
Thank you.
I, along with Christine O'Neill, we are environmental planners at the Naugatuck Valley Council of Government, and we've been trying to assist in this program at the regional level between the State Environmental Protection Department and then also the city. I can assure you that with Ansonia, so West Haven is doing the program, but we're helping to make sure that each city is taking an individualized approach that works with what town leadership wants, what city feedback has suggested. So I can assure you, we completely redesigned that notice, so it is framed in a friendly, educational, hey, this program started a couple of weeks ago in December. Now it's the new year. Just a reminder that it has started. You should have received the bags. If you don't have the bags, reach out to us. And here are some tips on how to do the program. So there are, again, it is completely optional. We are strongly encouraging everyone to participate, but there are no fines and there's nothing about non-compliance. It is framed just to help educate people as we tell them about what you can put in recycling, and what to do with other items that people normally need to dispose of.
So
then
people in this, I'm sorry. So
Go ahead.
people in the city who are going to get these letters.
It's framed as a flyer. Yeah, so people are it's not the same letter that went out in West Haven. It is a flyer. So just like we had other flyers for the program that showed what the program was about, when it starts, why we're doing it, what's in the bags and what's out of the bags. It's basically a condensed version of that, available in English and Spanish. And I'm not sure if it's going to be a sticker or if it's going to just be a small flyer. So it'll be stuck on people's mailboxes, but it doesn't say anything like notice. It just, or like, as intense and as maybe more non-optional that the program seemed in West Haven. Yeah, so it is different. The coloring is different on it and everything.
I think I sent you a draft, Bobby, of what it is. It is just a friendly flyer. We're not
Okay.
doing non-compliance in Ansonia.
Yeah, like I said, when it got published today, the calls start coming in and people start expressing the
Yep.
concerns because it is an optional program. Thank you.
All right. And again, hopefully, some of the aldermen will choose to attend. And I know you invited other city leaders as well. So hopefully you get a good crowd. Again, Thursday, 6 p.m. In City Hall, and free pizza.
Yes, and I would love to share about a couple of other events that we have, a little more outreach that we have around the program. So again, just as a reminder, this is for anyone who lives in a single family home or up to 4 units. And if you haven't received your bags yet, let us know. But I actually have them here. So these are the orange trash bags, and then these are the green food scraps bags. And so every home that fits that description should have received a box sometime in December. If you haven't, I'll throw our email in the chat so that you can reach out to us and we'll make sure that you get them. And the idea is that as landfills are filling up and as our waste infrastructure in the state, our waste incinerators are aging out, we are doing the best we can to reduce the cost of hauling, which we see increasing as we have to ship trash out of state. So a really great way of doing that is by pulling out food scraps, and instead of throwing food scraps in the garbage, we collect them in the green food scraps bag. We send them to basically an industrial composter that turns those food scraps mostly into clean energy. And it's just a really great way to divert some of that waste out of the stream, and also has environmental benefits along with helping to save the city money. So again, what you'll see in the coming weeks is just a friendly flyer that reminds people that this is a program in case people missed the messaging in December, since it's a crazy time of year. Hopefully some people's New Year's resolution can be to reduce our waste, which is something that benefits all of us financially and environmentally. One important thing to note about the program is recycling doesn't change, so keep recycling as normal: paper, plastic, bottles, and cans. As has been mentioned, so this Thursday we have a community dinner open to all feedback there, and we'll share a little more about the program as well as some early data findings on how many people are participating and what we're seeing. You might have seen us at Stop and Shop this past weekend. We'll be there again, tabling with the bags. People can ask questions, let us know if they haven't received their trash bags. And then we'll also have 2 more things. On Saturday, January 21st, we're partnering with the Ansonia Public Library to do sort of a kickoff fair. If people are interested, we have a limited number of tabletop compost bins that the green bags fit really well into. We're giving those away. We have more information, some fun activities for families. And then on January 24th,
Ansonia's.
on January
Mullen, go on
24th
mute.
at 6 p.m., we also have a state recycling workshop by the state recycling coordinator. So that's what we have coming up in the next couple of weeks. And please feel free to reach out or let me know here if you have any other questions. Thanks so much. I'll put our email in the chat.
Great.
Hey,
Thank you
Katie.
guys again for coming. And
Can I ask
yeah,
Thank
go ahead.
you.
Can I ask her a question? Sorry. So
Sure.
Katie, it's Tony. Do you have any metrics or any sort of information on what the participation levels look like so far in Ansonia?
Hey, wake up.
Yeah, it's very, very early, and especially with the holidays, we're hoping. So Waste Zero is the company that the state has contracted with to do that data collection, and so it's very early on. So I don't know that I have any final numbers that I can really share. They're very, very early, and it's again around the holidays, it's kind of a hard time because there's a lot of there's a lot going on in December. So we're hoping now with the new year, that's why we're doing this next push of educational messaging. And as soon as we have good numbers to share, we'll definitely be pushing that out. And I'm hoping that we'll get an early report this Thursday at the Community Champions Dinner. But we'll also hope to push this out on social media and on other channels.
What do the metrics look like? Is that like, tons of biodegradable, trash received? Is that joules produced? Like, what do the metrics look like? I'm just curious.
Christine, you might want to jump in here because you might know more on the quantum end. That's the facility we take this to. But I know just as our trash that we're throwing away is weighed now per ton to be charged, we're also doing that with the food scraps. And then we're also in the process of hiring someone to help do audits, which basically means they're looking in the trash bags, they're looking in the food scraps bags to have a better idea of how much, in the whole waste stream, everything we throw out, there's about a third of that's food scraps, 20 to 30%, that's food scraps generally. How much of that 20 to 30% are we getting? Those are the numbers we're looking at. And Christine, do you have any more to add on that?
Yeah, we're also looking to do spot checks to see, to look at for the contamination. So we're working on getting that in place. And like Katie said, it's really way too early to be getting like reliable data for you. That would be starting to roll in, in the next few weeks to months is when we'll really start seeing the data. But we'll also look at things like, of all the green food bags, what percentage is actual food, what percentage is recycling, and what percentage is trash. And we actually, probably not percentage, it's probably going to be by volume. So percentage of weight, not rather, I said volume, I apologize. I meant by weight rather than volume, because obviously that's how trash is measured. Does that answer your question, sir?
It does, because I think then we can quantify, if you had, as an example, of a ton of scrap that was diverted there, and obviously that's less that the city is paying for, we could actually quantify, what the program is doing for the city, and obviously then allow us to, I would say encourage folks to, participate for those that aren't. So
Absolutely,
numbers matter.
yeah.
Numbers
and
matter, and that stuff helps. So.
Absolutely, and yet to go back to what we were saying before about the tags, the whole point of those tags is to be educational and to encourage people. And we want it's voluntary, but we want as many people to do this as possible because it really only works if everybody gets behind it. So I hope you'll continue to be good stewards of the program as you've been so far, and spread the word, and maybe even join us on Thursday at our Champions Dinner. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right. Number 2, John, do we need to even discuss number 2, crime surveillance, or did you cover that in your update?
I think you managed to cover that when you assigned the members.
Okay, perfect. So that's the end of old business. We just have one item, executive session.
Motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Motion by Yaman, second by Cassetti. And usual suspects.
Yep. City staff and aldermen, for the record.
The recording has stopped.
We'll be back soon.
Don't jinx it, Joe.
Would you like, would Rich like to come in also in terms of the discussion, or is it just you from finance today?
Just me. What are we discussing?
Always a good time.
Agreements.
That instills confidence, Kurt.
All right, sorry. I'm working off my phone. I apologize. It said tap to
It's
speak.
your
I
item.
tapped it.
Yes, it's your item.
Are you creating a
Throw in a little
breakout?
Who is it?
AC/DC
Who's
reference, you can
875?
go Thunderstruck.
That's Frank DeLibro.
Oh, okay, good. All right, I think I got everybody. All right, let me try this then.
I'm still here.
All right, everybody. It's Eugene Driscoll again. I've been backstage watching this municipal meeting of the Ansonia Board of Aldermen with you this evening. They just went into executive session. I think Tom Harbinson noted they didn't exactly say why they were going to executive session, but it is on the agenda. One, review contract renewal chief of police. Doesn't note on the agenda whether they're going to take any action. So this is the part of the meeting where the public sits around and wonders what might happen when they come out. I don't know if it's just a simple review, but I should note anything that is to be voted upon would have to happen in public. Now, the question is, am I going to sit here with you in silence for however long it takes the Board of Aldermen and Kurt Miller and that's the finance guy, Corporation Counsel John Marini, to talk about whatever they're talking about? I don't know about that. I will say that about an hour before this meeting started was an arrest announced by the Ansonia Police Department. On January 4th at about 3:45 p.m., the Ansonia Police Department investigated a suspicious activity complaint at Colony Park, Ansonia. Investigating officers located two males in the parking lot. One of the males provided his proper date of birth, but a false name. The male was later identified as Jeremiah Perkins, age 24, of Waterbury. Perkins was found to be in the possession of 350 folds of fentanyl, 2.5 grams of crack cocaine, a 9mm Beretta handgun reported stolen from a home in Ansonia, and $3,640 in cash. Perkins was charged with possession of a controlled substance with intent to distribute, possession of fentanyl, possession of crack cocaine, criminal possession of a firearm, and... Wait, I got a question on here. Hold on one second. And stealing a firearm. He posted a $100,000 bond is due in court January 18th of 2023. There's a lot going on for 3:45 on a January 4th, huh? Okay, I'm getting corrections for her. Okay, can I join Zoom, please? Hey, hi, Adam. You'd have to go to the City of Ansonia website, cityofansonia.com. Go down to meetings on their homepage. If you go to cityofansonia.com, go down to meetings, click on Alderman, and there's info how to join. I'm stealing their feed. This isn't the actual meeting. What is the Zoom code? If you go to, you got to go to cityofansonia.com for all that info. Cityofansonia.com, homepage, look at meetings. That'll all be there. No, I can't. You got to go to cityofansonia.com. That's the link. Another arrest. I'm probably going to sign off in a second because I'm not going to sit through the whole executive session. Another arrest announced at about 4:50 today was also from the Ansonia Police Department. On December 27th, 2022 at 4 a.m., the Ansonia Police Department investigated a robbery complaint at Cumberland Farms. Chief touched upon this in the meeting. 5 Pershing Drive in Ansonia. Female victim reported that while she was pumping gas, 2 black males approached her and robbed her. The victim reported one of the males was armed with a handgun, which he used to strike her in the head before the suspects fled in a white sedan. On January 4th, one of the suspects, a 17-year-old male juvenile, no name released because of the kid's age, was arrested by warrant. Male juvenile charged with robbery first degree, conspiracy to commit robbery first degree, turned over to juvenile authorities. Investigation is ongoing. And additional arrests are expected. Anybody with information about that crime should call the Ansonia Police Department at 203-735-1885. Chief Williams also said during this Ansonia Board of Aldermen meeting, and Lieutenant Lynch told me earlier today, looks like they're making progress with that shootout that happened a couple of weeks back at the intersection of Main and West Main, where somebody in a car and somebody walking on the sidewalk decided to shoot at each other. Only property damage, nobody hurt. Adam Salmon. No, you got to go to cityofansonia.com. Cityofansonia.com. There you go. I got Thomas Harbison dipping into my business. Valley Indy social media achievements for 2022. Your follower count increased 11% versus the CT poach with increased 6.7 WTNH. Yeah. We've been stuck at about 18 or 19,000 forever, which I like. It's kind of manageable because the larger you get, the crazier the comments, and it just becomes unmanageable. Again, to join this meeting, you'd want to go here. Public session is all closed. That Adam. I don't know if there's something you're dying to bring up, but they're at the end of their meeting. If you want to get something on the agenda, I would recommend writing a letter to either the mayor's office or your representative on the board of aldermen, because at the beginning of the meeting they have public session, and that's with all these meetings, that's the public's chance to speak. Right now they're talking about the police chief's contract. I don't know if they're going to renew it, or they said it was renewal. Contract renewal for the chief of police. But December 13th, you had 987. Yeah. Okay, Adam, if you need to go to zoom.com or just type Zoom into Google. You got to download a thing. Your best bet is to go to youtube.com and then type in how to use Zoom, because I've been around since 2009. I can barely figure this out. So that would be your best bet. I don't want to give you wrong info. December 22, you had 13,418. December 19th, you had 14,000. Yeah. All right, I'm going to stop sharing this now because I've run out of things to say. And I've got Gene. Gene was at that meeting, our reporter, the Valley Indy reporter, too. I got to correct something in our fire chief story. Gene, if you're listening, you don't have to look at the meeting minutes. I would call up the mayor and Marini tomorrow and the chief of police to talk about the camera surveillance system. I think that's the sort of the news out of that meeting. Crime surveillance program. That's the top of people's mind, I would assume. This is your Thomas Harvest in December 20. You had 1470. Yeah, plateau. I use your page as a key performance. Yeah, it's complicated, and you can't compare like a commercial entity to the Valley Indy because Facebook doesn't like news organizations because of, I guess, people at one point tried to overthrow the government or something like that. I don't know what's going on, but they blamed like Mayor Marini. Not sure. Well, the mayor's Mayor Cassetti. But all right, I got nothing else, ladies and gentlemen. Go to valleyindy.org now. We've got linked a story or an interview Mike Kenichi did with Al Terzi. That's pretty good. I got to add some stuff right now. We also have a feature story, a quick interview with Chief Michael Gload, the new Derby. Oh, maybe I could have misspoke. I keep reading Adam. Adam, I can't. Trying to help out here. Adam says, type please. How can I join the website tomorrow? Your Zoom. No, I'm not using Zoom. Cityofansonia.com. All right. Adam, if you send me an email to valleyindependentsentinel@gmail.com, maybe I can help you out. I'll send you links to an instructional thing that I watched. valleyindependentsentinel@gmail.com. That's enough out of me. Good night.